Today, I'm reviewing the Tanchjim Origin single dynamic driver in-ear monitors. Let's get it. What's cracking, audio fans? It's David here from Prime Audio Reviews. The Tanchjim Origin here, not to be confused with the Oxygen, which came out a few years ago now, I believe. But the Origin here, priced at $259 US. There's the box, and there's a sneak peek of the graph. I'll throw up mine in just a moment. But inside is the usual stuff. You get a pretty decent carrying case. You get the cable, 6 pairs of silicone ear tips in 2 different types, and you get 2 additional nozzle sets, nozzle filters, which don't actually really do anything, so I'm just going to completely ignore those. Let's have a look at the IEMs first. There they are. And if you've seen any of the other popular Tanchjim IEMs, the Oxygen or the HANA, etc., you will immediately recognize the design language of the Origin here. It's a pretty simple sort of aesthetic, but it looks classy. It feels classy as well. These are stainless steel shells, I believe. And then you've got this sort of textured faceplate with etched, the logo on the right and the model name on the left. These are really comfortable. They feel great in my ears. Let's have a quick look at the cable, which is nothing special. It's a good quality cable, but very generic, but it handles well. I guess for the price, it is decent. I would like to see a modular cable. I'm starting to expect that more and more nowadays. And I actually forgot to check whether it's available with a 4.4mm termination, but regardless, that is the cable. And let's get back to the IEMs. Let's get into the important stuff, i.e. how these sound. So first of all, pretty easy to drive. You don't need any special source. I definitely would recommend, at the minimum, a dongle DAC. Just a decent, nice, clean audio source with a bit of power behind it to get the optimal performance out of these. Very tastefully tuned, in my opinion. It flirts with neutral, but there is definitely some added warmth in there and contrast added in there to boot. It's a very natural sounding IEM though, and it has focus on the vocals and mid-range. But at the same time, it gives plenty of love to the bass. Despite what it looks like on the graph, it might look like it's light on bass, but let me assure you it is not. And there's a bit of love given to the treble as well, in addition to, of course, that presence region or the pinna gain. But let's come back to the bass, and this has got one of those interesting basses. It's sort of tastefully restrained in quantity, yet it's got this authoritative punch and ample body with it as well. And I feel that that's due to a slightly blunted attack. It's not a super sharp tactile attack. It's a little bit blunted, which gives it a natural sort of thump. But at the same time, it has a nice speedy decay, so it is a well-controlled bass. It's not an IEM for bass heads, but I think there's plenty of quantity there to satisfy most people. Can get a nice bit of a rumble going on. It's a gentle sort of a smooth rumble, but it is there. The depth, the reach is quite good. But that at the same time, that also allows the mid bass to sort of step forward. A bit of a trade-off there, and one that I definitely appreciate. One that's been conspicuously absent from many chi-fi IEMs of recent times, and that is, of course, due to just the current trends in the audiophile world, in the IEM world. And then in the mid-range, vocals and instruments with lower fundamentals, things like male vocals, guitars and cellos, they sound natural, well separated, without any added weight or congestion, but they do have a nice fullness to them. Just like the bass, the mid-range sounds very natural. The steady rise that you see on the graph there from 1 to 3 kilohertz, that lends a bit of clarity and articulation. but it also gives vocals and instruments a bit of a vibrancy and lifelike presence, but without tipping over into shoutiness. It's a clean, well-balanced tuning in the mids, and it avoids muddiness, and it excels with vocal-centric and acoustic music, but really I found it enjoyable with all music genres. Moving on to the treble. Now, this is one of the few IEMs I've reviewed recently that I would genuinely describe as having some sparkle in the treble. There is a moderate dip at around 4 to 5 kilohertz, which helps reduce sharpness and sibilance, especially on vocals and cymbals, but then you've got that subtle lift at 7 to 8 kilohertz, which brings detail and air into the mix, but at the same time it lets the mid-range retain its role as the star of the show. So you've got a fairly lively treble that really does have a bit of vibrancy and sparkle to it. It's nicely balanced and it lets the mids really come forward. At the same time, it's a well-detailed treble, but it's never overbearing. It's not sharp, at least to my ears. I think it's a really refined balance that complements the overall tuning really well. Now, for the Soundstage and technicalities, I would say the Soundstage has a sort of moderate size, moderate dimensions. It's neither expansive nor cramped. It's somewhere in between, very natural sounding or feeling space. The airiness in the treble helps to widen the stage a bit, and it also helps to create some spread or space between different elements, while the forwardness of the mid-range and that rather meaty bass, they both contribute to a strong sense of forward depth in the stage. But what stands out to me when it comes to technicalities is the instrument separation and the overall resolution from those single dynamic drivers. Pretty impressive stuff. The imaging is nice and precise, making it easy to place instruments and vocals in the mix, or to place where your enemies are if you are into first-person shooters. Comparison time, and let's bring out the bling. The Ear Acoustics Spa High-End Max. So the High-End Max has a more energetic and V-shaped tuning. It's got an elevated bass, which carries more rumble and more punch, but it also has a thicker mid-range, lower mid-range as a result of that added bass. The sound is what we would call colored, not totally transparent, while the Origin here steers closer to neutral with a flatter bass shelf and more restrained upper mids and treble. The high-end Max really leans into a more dynamic and contrast heavy sound profile, and it's sort of tuned for excitement more than tonal accuracy. And next up we have the SimGot EA1000 Format. And these two graph really similarly, but there is a distinct difference in the sound when you listen to them. The EA1000 is noticeably leaner and it has less note density or thinner notes. The EA1000's bass has sort of less meat on the bone. It doesn't have as much texture as the Origin, and that carries over into the mid-range as well, where the EA1000 is more spacious but not quite as natural. It doesn't have that natural body that the Tanchjim Origin does. Both of these IEMs have similar levels of treble in terms of quantity, and pretty similar in detail retrieval as well. The SimGot does have a slightly wider soundstage. This has, the SimGot that is, has a slightly airier feel to it, whereas the Tanchjim Origin is really all about sounding very, very natural, but at the same time, you know, showcasing good technical capabilities. So yeah, that is the Tanchjim Origin, and yeah, this is a good one. It's kind of expensive. Well, it's not entry level, it's not quite mid-tier in pricing. It's about the same as the EA1000. It's actually cheaper than the high-end Max. Now the high-end Max, it probably has a higher manufacturing cost just due to the blinginess and the size of it and everything, and the heft, whereas this is a much lighter and smaller and thinner IEM. But yeah, overall the Tanchjim Origin, I really like this. Very natural sounding, but at the same time it's reasonably close to neutral, but it just has that little bit of added body and warmth to make it very engaging, make it very non-fatiguing. Like, you can listen to this one all day long, not a worry in the world, and I really like it. I'm going to give this one a very strong recommendation. So that's it. I'm wrapping it up. Thanks for watching the video. If you liked it, give it the old thumbs up, PAR Family Audiophile style if you're new here, or if you haven't hit that subscribe button yet, consider doing that now before you go. And until next time, I'll see you later.